You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Oh boy, oh boy. This is not going to go away, folks. This betting scandal that involved Terry Rozier, that involved Jonte Porter last year, and then obviously with Chauncey Billups getting involved and stuff like that, this is not going away. This is not good. And this is not the end of this scandal.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Players behind the scenes who complain about Hurts' unwillingness to throw through tight windows against zone coverage. I told you Friday, Kevin, that Jalen Hurts takes the path of least resistance. He holds on to the ball. He doesn't like making those tighter throws. Though he loves making deeper throws, which it's interesting. Over 20 yards, he's one of the best in the National Football League.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
We're officially on the back end of the week here, Joe Ranieri. Did you know that? You have Monday, you have Tuesday, you have Wednesday, which is hump day. And typically 2-hour show Monday, 2-hour show Tuesday, 2-hour show Wednesday, same thing with Thursday and Friday. Now we're on the back end. We can see the weekend right now, which is going to include a fantastic college football slate. Things will work themselves out in the college football playoff. The NFL starting back up tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football, and a couple intriguing games, as we pointed out in hour number 1. Weather conditions not too bad for late November in the NFL. We love to see that. We also love to see you guys out there watching the show and enjoying it with us. Donnie Rightside, Joe Ranieri, hour number 2 is now officially underway.
Yeah, week away, right? Turkey Day. Going to have plenty to be excited about here as we get ready to wrap up the month of November, Donnie, and college basketball coming into its own now. We got a lot of those holiday tournaments coming up, so buckle up. Going to be a whole lot of fun from now till the end of the year for sure.
By the way, next Thursday and Friday, typically no early lines there on both of those days there. Your boy DRS might be sleeping in a little bit extra early at that point. That's another thing to rejoice and get ready for it. And if I ask you, Joe, your favorite holiday, there's a million holidays out there. And for me, it's not even close. When you're growing up as a kid, it's always Christmas. But as you get past there, I can buy myself what I want. I don't need presents anymore. Thanksgiving is the greatest day every single year of my life. Family, football, food, cigars, cocktails. It's the greatest day. It is.
I can't go wrong, Donnie. I get it there. Mine is 4th of July because I love blowing things up and having a barbecue doing so. But yes, it's I can absolutely see it. There is nothing like it. Little day off and a little all-day football while stuffing your face is never a bad thing.
That's why they call you Joe JPP Ranieri for the 4th of July, man. Look, light that fuse and run away as fast as you can, people. Maybe you do that tomorrow night. Do you want to light the fuse and take those Houston Texans? I don't know, but their starting quarterback, C.J. Stroud, won't be there. It's going to be Davis Mills. And as we start to talk about the early lineup, that could be a key. Mills has played pretty well over the past 2 weeks. The Buffalo Bills looking to chase down the New England Patriots. Should be a fun one, but once again, Stroud, Thursday night game, hard to get back. They're taking it slow with their franchise guy. Hint, hint, New York Giants. How about that tonight? Tomorrow, Davis Mills is going to get the start.
Yeah, and we knew it, Donnie, right? We talked about it on the spread lines on Monday, and we said just keep an eye on it. If Stroud goes, this line likely moves towards Houston. If it doesn't, it's going to move towards Buffalo. And sure enough, that's exactly what we're seeing here. And it all comes down to whether or not we know Houston's got a great defense. We know the Bills have a great offense. The question is, can the offense of Houston do enough in order to actually win this game? I don't even know that they can do enough to cover this game, Donnie.
We'll find out tomorrow night, and certainly we'll have a lot more previews here on the early line tomorrow, bright and early. But let's get to some news and notes there throughout the NFL landscape. Aaron Rodgers, who I needed him to throw 2 touchdown passes on Sunday, he threw one real early in that game, a little swing pass out there to Kenny Gainwell to score a touchdown. But at the end of the half, throwing a football away on second down, came down hard on his left wrist and ended up breaking that left wrist. Did not come back in the second half, and it was all backup quarterbacks and running the football. And by the way, they look pretty good doing that with Mason Rudolph. Now, the question is, will he be starting this weekend? We don't know, but maybe Friday he gets a practice in. I would be shocked if he played because it's about protecting yourself in the pocket. And if you have a broken wrist when you get tackled, usually your hand/wrist breaks the fall. He can't do that, Joe.
Yeah, no, you can't. It's unfortunate there for Aaron Rodgers, but they have a very competent backup quarterback in Mason Rudolph. If I'm Tomlin, there is no reason to try and have Aaron Rodgers play through this at this point against this Bears team. You got to win some games, and I think this is a very beatable Bears team, and you got to have enough faith in Mason Rudolph to be able to get the job done. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, so your defense has got to level up. No reason to bring Aaron Rodgers, I think, under center in this game.
How about LeBron James back after that extended layoff due to a sciatica, and they didn't ease him in, Joe. He played 30 minutes in this game, recorded a double-double in a 140-126 final for the Utah Jazz, getting beat. Would have liked if they got beat 140-128, but it wasn't to be. A 2-touchdown win for the Lakers as LeBron James is welcomed back into Laker Nation.
Yeah, a lot of fun, and he was playing facilitator last night, which is what you could probably expect from LeBron James. A lot more of that. Luka Doncic and Reeves are on the team here. I mean, Doncic dropped 37, but once again, the Lakers didn't get any better defensively because LeBron James is back, Donnie. So moving forward, welcome back, LeBron. I'll be looking at a ton of overs in Laker games.
Texas took its third loss of the season here and now has been pushed back to number 17 in the polls. You lost to Ohio State. No shame in your game. You lost at Georgia. No shame in your game. The one that trips you up, though, is that loss to Florida. But they should have an easy win against Arkansas on deck at home. And then they're going to take on Texas A&M, who will be a top 3 team at the end of the season. Will be very interesting if Texas rises to the occasion and wins that game against A&M, a top 3 team, and is still left out of the college football playoff. That's the way it's probably going to look right now. Texas at 17 right now, Joe.
Ironically enough, Donnie, that game against Texas in 2 weeks for Texas Tech might mean absolutely nothing, which is hilarious because they've already really punched their ticket into the college football playoff. It'll mean everything to Texas and nothing to Texas Tech. So, but Texas, listen, you put yourself in this position now. 3-loss team in the college football playoff, possible. And I think Texas is the only team that can do it. A 4-loss team? Yeah, no, that's we're going to have to go back to the drawing board there, Sarkisian.
Be interesting, too, to see how it plays out in the SEC, and in particular with the number 6 team in the country and now Ole Miss. You look at Ole Miss's schedule. Yeah, they have one loss to Georgia, 43-35 on the road. Yeah, it's a tough place to play between the hedges. They did beat Oklahoma on the road, which is a quality win, and maybe their only real quality win of the season. Tulane's okay, I get it. Kentucky in the SEC schedule. They're going to take on Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. Now, that is a rivalry game, but they should easily dispatch of them, which means Ole Miss is going to be playing here in the college football playoff. But the question's going to be, is Lane Kiffin sticking around for the playoffs? That's an incredible question to ask.
Yeah, and boy, he has got the entire college football universe waiting on his every move and his decision as far as what is he going to do? Is he going to LSU? Is he going to go to Florida? Is he staying at Ole Miss? And he's not helping anybody figure it out, including his own team. But, keep in mind, Donnie, this would be one thing if they were a 7-win team, 8-win team going to the Who Gives a Crap Bowl. but he's got a college football playoff ticket in his back pocket here. That makes this even more intriguing as far as what can Ole Miss do outside of giving him everything, the world. What in the world can they do to force the decision? The answer is nothing, not a damn thing.
Yeah, there's two things at play right now. Money, obviously, is going to be more from Florida and also LSU. And also, it does make sense. If you go to Florida, you open up those recruiting windows, you don't have it Ole Miss. And the same thing at LSU. That's a fact of life. Otherwise, everybody would be clamoring just to get to Ole Miss and not wanting to leave there. We'll see how it plays out, but certainly in an interesting position is Lane Kiffin, and looks quite comfortable in that position he is now. I tell you, he is not comfortable right now in his position. It's Patrick Beverly allegedly choking and punching his sister. It's like, domestic dispute. His sister is a teenager. Never a good look here. Let's see how this one plays out.
No, not good. It's unfortunate with the whole situation here, and we'll get the whole story out, I'm sure, at some particular point, but not a good look here for Patrick Beverly, one of the best all-time defenders in the NBA.
Now, answer me this question. Does this end in 2 weeks with all charges dropped because a check clears with his own family? Like, how do you think this one does play out?
Yeah, great question, Donnie. We have seen it work both ways in many instances before. So time will tell, though. One thing I can guarantee is we'll all figure it out here soon enough.
Spain in the World Cup, rejoice. They're headed to the United States in 2026 to compete for the biggest championship on the world's landscape outside the Super Bowl. We'll be right back.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Oh boy, oh boy. This is not going to go away, folks. This betting scandal that involved Terry Rozier, that involved Jonte Porter last year, and then obviously with Chauncey Billups getting involved and stuff like that, this is not going away. This is not good. And this is not the end of this scandal.
Pro Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Players behind the scenes will complain about Hurts's unwillingness to throw through tight windows against zone coverage. I told you Friday, Kevin, that Jalen Hurts takes the path of least resistance. He holds on to the ball. He doesn't like making those tighter throws. Though he loves making deeper throws, which it's interesting. Over 20 yards, he's one of the best in the National Football League.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all three Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
Wednesday Hump Day right here on the early line, the Sports Grid Network. Donnie right side along with Joe Ranieri. Now we bring in our good buddy here, Adam Kaufman, to go over some today's news and notes and also what might be on the horizon. Adam, how are we feeling this morning on a glorious Wednesday?
Yeah, good. How are you guys doing?
Relaxing, fun, energy is high. Joe Ranieri bringing that heat each and every morning. Let's get into it here, Adam. I need some help on this one. Let's see the New England Patriots out here in these streets winning 8 straight games and favored to win their 9th game in a row. And Drake May goes from, can he be our franchise quarterback, to, can he be MVP of the entire NFL? On deck this weekend is the Cincinnati Bengals. They're now favored by over a touchdown. No more for me, Adam, do I look at it and say, another referendum game. Can they win when they're supposed to win? All the Patriots do is win when they're supposed to win for the past 8 weeks here. How are we feeling about New England, not only to win this division, but Drake May being the MVP of the entire league?
Well, I know a couple weeks back I was starting to make the case for Drake May to be MVP, and Ranieri couldn't even control himself. He was just laughing out loud in my face at the notion that Drake May could be the most valuable player of this league. And look, it's still obviously on the table, and he is among the favorites. Matthew Stafford is right there in the mix. People are trying to force Jonathan Taylor into the conversation. No disrespect, by the way, toward Taylor at all. He has had an unbelievable year, but guess what? Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, they both had unbelievable years last year, and they didn't even sniff the conversation. The reason for that, as we've talked about before, and as I hope people know by now who are investing money in this market, the MVP goes to a quarterback. More often than not, very rare exception, it's a quarterback award. And then Offensive Player of the Year, that's for the other guys, whether it's a running back or a wide receiver, and almost never a tight end, as we know. And so, yeah, it comes down to the QBs. And for Drake May, I just think there's going to be an element of narrative that comes into play. And it is humans that vote for this award, obviously. So it's not like it's determined by the algorithm or something like that. And people are going to look at it, and they are going to see, for one, you'll look at all the raw data, the stats. And at the moment, as we sit here entering week 12, Drake May is among the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL statistically. Say what you want about the eye test if you disagree. Statistically, he's right there among the best. And so from there, it's what were expectations coming in? A lot of people are going to look at Drake May and say, this guy's effectively a rookie in many ways still. You know, last year technically was his first year in the league. He was not a full-time starter. He emerged as the season went on. This is year one in terms of the full Drake May experience. That's part of it. Also elevating a franchise that has been in the dumpster for the last handful of years and hasn't been in the playoffs since, you know, they got smoked by the Bills back in 2021, but really hasn't been a viable threat to do anything since Tom Brady was here in 2019. Even Brady, after that team started 8-0, said, yeah, we kind of suck. And so, sure enough, they go down in round one against the Titans. This team on the map, tied for the top of the conference with the Denver Broncos, tied for the top of the NFL for that matter. And so that, coupled with Mike Vrabel, who obviously is the coach of the year favorite, coming in, changing the culture. People are going to look at Vrabel. They're going to look at May, both really likable guys. The Patriots are suddenly going to be on the right end of a story that for decades they were on the wrong side of as the villains of the league. And there's going to, the tide has turned a little bit. People are going to look at this and say, division leader, maybe conference leader, first round bye, great talent with very little around him offensively that he is lifting up on a weekly basis. And I think people are going to feed into the narratives to where it's a very real possibility. Is it a landslide? Of course not. But when it comes to winning the conference, or more to the point, winning the division right now, that last win by the Bills against the Buccaneers was necessary. You know, you can't, if you're Buffalo, fall 3 games back in the win column against New England with a head-to-head still to come in a few weeks in Foxborough. And so the Bills needed that game emphatically. They go out, they get it, obviously. The division is still very much a fight. Against Cincinnati, here's where arrogance comes into play, and I am guilty of this. The Patriots should slaughter the Bengals, especially now that we're looking at Jamar Chase being suspended for a game. Where I say arrogance comes into play, as I look at it, and I'm kind of disappointed that Chase is out. Cincinnati is a vastly inferior team, obviously, without Joe Burrow. And I think it benefits a team like New England, who got torched by Drake London a couple weeks ago, to go against someone of the caliber of Jamar Chase. You don't have that if it's just Flacco throwing to T. Higgins, you know, for the most part, and Chase Brown, I guess. You know, you want to make it a little more challenging, honestly, to try and get yourselves prepared for the playoffs. Most teams would be celebrating Jamar Chase, a top 3, if not number 1 wide receiver across the NFL, not being available to play against them. I think it would actually benefit the Pats to see him out there.
So let me just say, no disrespect to Drake May and what he is doing with Josh McDaniel.
Sounds like disrespect. Sounds like about to disrespect him.
But I couldn't control myself from laughing because let's go over the schedule of who exactly Drake May has beaten if we can.
Oh, no.
Las Vegas, Miami, Pittsburgh, Carolina, New Orleans, Tennessee, Cleveland, a dysfunctional Atlanta, the single-handedly
I miss
easiest
Buffalo and Tampa
group
both
of
on the road
teams to play. The single easiest group of offenses to go up against.
Boy.
Of
Now
course, he's going to look like an MVP. They've played nobody, absolutely nobody. So my question is, when they actually step up and play let's say a Rams against Stafford or Seattle or Philadelphia, what is going to happen then with Drake May?
I hope they play these teams because you're talking about a Super Bowl matchup. So that sounds great.
What happens when they play an elite defense? What happens when they play an elite defense?
Is this a real question? Because they beat the Cleveland Browns, who had the number one defense in the NFL at the time, and then they beat the Atlanta Falcons, who had the then they beat the Atlanta Falcons, who had the number one pass defense.
If Cleveland can't score, then it doesn't matter what you do there. It doesn't make a difference. Who cares that
what happens when they face
Cleveland can't win
defense
against anybody? You can't tell me that
listen.
Drake May is doing this against the best teams in the NFL. You can't tell me that this is so impressive. He's MVP worthy, beating up on the lowest teams in the NFL.
I think we can both cherry pick this thing all we want, because Drake May doesn't face offenses, he faced defenses, and he went against two top ones in Cleveland and Atlanta and beat them both. And if you want to say, well, what about a great offense? I'll sit here and say, well, they beat the Buffalo Bills, a top team in the AFC, and you know what you're going to say to me? Yeah, but the defense sucks. So there's no perfect team out there. Patriots can only play the games on their schedule, man.
Rocky versus Apollo Creed. Love it.
Homer.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I said
earlier.
earlier.
He got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
When I think of the European Tour, these are the players I'm thinking of, right? So I understand why that they would be so frustrated by all this, but they also know that there are rules in place that, from a competitive standpoint, that if you're a member of this tour, like, you can't go join a rival tour. Like, there's rules in place, just like in any other business.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
The Green Bay area and the Philadelphia area, you would get on ABC normally.
Yes.
But they didn't have ABC, so they couldn't get it locally.
Yeah, it just, you have to ask the question, like, nobody wants to hear from Bob Iger during the Monday night game when 10 million people are blacked out from watching the game, and you not ask him about when the blackout's going to end.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The 35 cents, though, for yes on Ohio State.
Yeah.
I like that, Donnie. I think there's value in that right now because we only got, 3 weeks left to go. Then we'll have conference championships. Yeah, the more they keep winning, and they will win, the more that will increase, and that's a pretty good return on an investment there with Kalshi.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Time to hit those Kalshi markets that we absolutely love right here on a hump day of the Early Line on the SportsGrid Network. The hottest topics we love to go over. Now the hottest topics you can actually bet on. It used to be, Joe, just the hottest games you can make a profit or stake a profit in. That's not the case anymore with the Kalshi markets. The question that we're asking right now, will Lane Kiffin leave Ole Miss before November 28th of 2025? Right now, it's listed at a 24% chance. You plunk down $100 that he will leave before November 28th, 2025, that's $417 coming back in your back pocket, which means Kiffin's going to win the Egg Bowl, and Kiffin is going to dip to Florida and or LSU. If you are a betting man, which I know you are, which way would you invest? Kiffin out or staying by November 28th?
No, he'll be there. He'll see this thing through one way or the other. But the minute that the postseason, if something were crazy were to happen here and the postseason's not a reality for him, then no. I mean, I can make the argument, Donnie, that the best thing he can do is win out and then not be a part of the SEC championship game. And he's pretty much already locked into he doesn't have to do anything. So I think Ole Miss he's got that playoff ticket in his back pocket. If it was anything else other than that, he probably would dart before the Egg Bowl. But the fact that he is in contention to win a national championship, there's no way he doesn't see this through.
By the way, if you are looking, and it makes sense with what Joe's saying, because if you have a very good agent, it's what Scott Boras does in Major League Baseball. Hey, I got a handful of guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not signing the first 3-4 weeks. This is going to marinate, and teams are going to start getting desperate. So the longer it goes on for Lane Kiffin, the better it actually is, because you squeeze more money out of each institution here the way you go. Yep. And yes, if Lane Kiffin wins the Egg Bowl, he's got some time to think about this. Oh, look. The college football projections in the finals, they're in the playoffs. Even if Lane Kiffin is still there in the first game of the college football playoff and he wins that, the other teams start to panic again. Oh, no, maybe an extra $5 million on top as a guarantee might get him to leave during the college football playoff. It's a crazy scenario, but I think you're right, Joe. If the no is the right answer, $100 pays back $130. Like, oh, you only get $30. That's a 30% return on investment on your money in basically what? 10 or 11 days here, Joe? I think you're right about this one. I don't think he leaves. I think he leaves, but not before that date.
Yeah, it makes no sense because he doesn't have to play. He's not eligible, I think, the way it's working out to be part of the SEC championship game. So he doesn't have to run the risk of losing another game. And quite honestly, he has already solidified himself as a top 10 team anyway to make the postseason. So he controls all the cards. He has all the cards. He's got all the leverage. And I guarantee you, Donnie, we will not hear between now and the time he decides that LSU hired a coach or Florida. These jobs are going to be there until he is ready to make the decision.
Here's a great one for the NFL, Joe, with the Kalshi markets. Who would get hired as a men's pro football coach this year? Mike McCarthy, Gerard Mayo, Antonio Pierce, Doug Peterson, Ron Rivera, Bill Belichick, and a couple other guys that are listed. Now understand this. The question here, if you pick Mike McCarthy, let's just say he's the top of the leaderboard right now, 14% chance. $100 pays back $715. But the rule summary here is if Mike McCarthy is hired as a men's coach in pro football before January 1st, the market resolves to yes. That's the key. Not this year as opposed to this year before an NFL season starts next year. Like, oh, we'll be a coach by next year. They got to be hired, Joe, before the season is actually over. That's an extreme rarity where, hey, let me hire my coach with a game left in our NFL season. The no market is 93% as it should be, but I thought that was a key indicator where it's not the end of this season before next season. It's actually just this year alone, December 31st, 2025.
There isn't one name on that list that you just rattled off there, Donnie, that teams are going to be lining up and clamoring to get where the first one to the table wins. These are all retreads. These are not the hot new and any of the hot new coordinators or unknown commodities, Donnie, are going to be playing in the playoffs and they can't interview and you can't talk to them anyway. So all of this that means that a team would have to love Mike McCarthy so much that they don't want to lose him to somebody else. That's not going to happen before January 1st.
I'm telling you, these markets are sensational to watch them play out. Because, yes, miracles do happen and changes. But, again, just changing your mindscape of which way you want to use your juice. Yep. Hey, if I told you put $100 in, you can get $30 back by Christmas time. I don't want to do that. But it seems like it's good money. Like, McCarthy's not getting hired in December to coach a new football team here. How about this quick question? What will Odell Beckham's next team be? Kansas City, Los Angeles, Pittsburgh. How about just no across the board for that one, Joe?
How about the Giants? Can we get the odds on him returning back to the Giants for Jackson Dart? Why not? Come on.
Maybe a late game, last game of the season. He retires as a Giant after getting some run in a meaningless game. Could happen, people. We'll be right back.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what
he
I said
got hit
earlier.
behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing
No
is,
surprise.
Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
When I think of the European Tour, these are the players I'm thinking of, right? So I understand why that they would be so frustrated by all this, but they also know that there are rules in place that, from a competitive standpoint, that if you're a member of this tour, like, you can't go join a rival tour. Like, there's rules in place, just like in any other business.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
The Green Bay area and the Philadelphia area, you would get on ABC normally.
Yes.
But they didn't have ABC, so they couldn't get it locally.
Yeah, it just you have to ask the question, like, nobody wants to hear from Bob Iger during the Monday night game when 10 million people are blacked out from watching the game, and you not ask him about when the blackout's going to end.
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
The 35 cents, though, for yes on Ohio State.
Yeah.
I like that, Donnie. I think there's value in that right now because we only got, 3 weeks left to go. Then we'll have conference championships. Yeah, the more they keep winning, and they will win, the more that will increase, and that's a pretty good return on an investment there with Kalshi.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's get you ready for the people, get you ready for the weekend, people. NFL style, NFL edition here. We got teams to look at. We got some props. We got also some sides, some totals, and that includes a game that's going to take place in the NFC North. It's the Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy booed at home, and rightfully so, with that game versus the Chicago Bears. He didn't look good early. He actually brought them back late for a touchdown, but a late field goal gave the Bears the victory. The Green Bay Packers, I guess they're getting booed soundly there. They should have gotten booed in the Meadowlands. They almost lost to Jameis Winston and the New York Giants, but they pulled out that victory, and now they head home back to Lambeau. 6.5-point favorite now for the Green Bay Packers over Minnesota, and a total very low, Joe. Some markets as low as 40.5 right now in this football game. Is Green Bay going to walk over this game? We don't even know if they're going to have the starting running back there. They have struggled on offense. Or J.J. McCarthy, he's just not ready for prime time.
Yeah, I mean, not good here at all, Donnie, for this Green Bay team. You have to worry. I mean, the last couple of games that they played, at home, they were favorites, and then they lose both of those games outright. They have no wide receivers who can gain any separation at all. No defenses fear anybody they have. The Vikings defense and Brian Flores certainly aren't going to be worried about that. And the one thing we know about Jordan Love is that if you pressure him, things go sideways. No running back, terrible matchup. And the problem is, do we trust McCarthy enough to be able to score in this game in order to get it done? I feel like this is an under waiting to happen, Donnie. I don't trust either offense here. I think the under might be the best look in this game.
It could be 41.5 too. So that game will be in Green Bay on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Let's go to another 1 o'clock game here in the Sunday marketplace. It's the New York Giants and it's the Detroit Lions. You see this line, Joe, was 9.5. It's 10 to 10.5, even some 11s now in the marketplace, and a total of 50.5. But we do have some news coming out of Giants land here. And I know you can't keep him on the bench for the rest of the year, because if he's cleared by medical doctors, he's going to play. Otherwise, the NFL starts to have an issue with stuff like this. But Jackson Dart will be back at practice today with the expectation he will have a chance to return on Sunday. I'm telling you right now, I've ripped the Bozo Mara family multiple times. They're one of the worst run organizations over the past 5 to 6 years, and it's not even close. Horrible general managers, horrible head coaches here. Make the right decision. Again, you're not going to sit Dart to the rest and say, oh, we'll see him next year. Give him an extra couple weeks. And I know they have to be smart enough, Joe, to do that. If I see Jackson Dart practicing this week, which is just fine, get him back on the field with the guys, run some plays here, he can't start in Detroit. An angry Detroit team with some dudes like Aiden Hutchinson are going to crush the quarterback to get out their frustrations on their loss against the Eagles. Give him at least one more week, Joe. So I'll ask you this question. You see that line at double digits now. Should Jackson Dart play in this game for the New York Giants?
No, I don't see any reason why he should continue to go out there. I mean, if there's a question in any way, shape, or form that's safe, I think Jameis showed us, and this is what we had been saying for a couple of weeks, is that, quietly, I'm pretty sure everyone in that locker room thought Jameis gave him the best option throwing the ball, right? And he showed that in that game against a top defense in the Green Bay Packers here. So, yes, I mean, it's not, I do think that Detroit's defense is probably of that same caliber, but why would you want to risk it here at this point? It's one thing if, hey, the next game's against Cincinnati. Sure, bring them back. We're not really worried about the Cincinnati defense and the damage they can do. But you better be worried what the Detroit defense can do. If there's any questions, just hold off. I mean, there's no rush to bring him back at this point.
Seattle defense, Joe, this past weekend against the Rams had a tough start, but really clamped in late and gave them a chance to win that football game. I feel sorry this weekend because the Tennessee Titans are going to take on Seattle. They're looking to take out some frustration. They have a defense that can get after the quarterback. They have an offense that Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions last week, and they still almost won a football game against one of the better teams in the NFL. If Sam Darnold cleans up his interceptions this weekend and doesn't turn the football over, sky could be the limit. This is a 13.5-point spread across, but a 40.5 total, which tells you Seattle will be doing the scoring. Seattle will be playing really good defense in this one. Do you like taking 2 touchdown favorites on the road? Probably not. But if you're looking at prop bets in this one, Seattle probably has some guys you want to get after. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's probably going to have a big day. Multiple rushing touchdowns, probably there. Sam Darnold saying, let me get those feel-good vibes back so we can maybe chase down the leaders there in the NFC West, maybe so. Good luck, Tennessee, this weekend, Joe.
So this is historically, Donnie, at least from 2020, not been a very profitable look here by laying this kind of number with a road favorite. In fact, favorites of 11 or more on the road, just 3-7 against the number. Maybe even more scary is the fact that they're 5-5 straight up in those games. So this has not been a profitable spot to look to Seattle and be like, oh, yeah, they're going to – no, that tends to be when teams maybe get a little comfortable and Seattle goes, you know what, we're going to just run this. This is – I wouldn't be running to the window and laying this with Seattle. They've been good. They're 8-2 on a year, but history tells us, this is a sleepy spot here for Seattle.
If you were looking at like saying you wanted to take Seattle and full game, they should really beat up Tennessee. But still in the NFL, it's 14 points, which means you're down 17 late. Hey, we can get inside that number. Would you take Seattle if you wanted to the angle in the first half and let you say -9? What would the spread be at the half? It's got to be 8.5 or 9.5, right? Seattle by double digits at the break and sort of close to a victory.
Well, that's what you've got to hope for, right? That would be the only way I would play it. But, they got Jeffrey Simmons back last week. They got healthier on defense, Tennessee, and they were flying all over the field. Don't think for 1 minute at home, like Tennessee doesn't know they're a 2-touchdown dog in their own building here. So it's not like they're going to roll over for Seattle. It's a tough spot. I wouldn't be running to the window laying it full game, but I think you're right, Donnie. Maybe even first quarter might not be a bad look.
Oh, we got the bait and switch coming up next here. Jacksonville Jaguars on the road to take on the Arizona Cardinals. You take a look at before that game was played on Sunday. The favorite was actually Arizona, -1.5. That's no longer the case. Jacksonville played very well at home and absolutely clowned the Chargers. They're going to go on the road as 2.5-point favorites in a total of 47.5. Usually when you look at Jacksonville, you're not in love with over games, but it just feels like when Arizona presents themselves with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, it's like, all right, weapons or no weapons, we are throwing the football all over the place, which could mean a lot of sacks for Jacksonville, but also a lot of points in this game, too. Do you just continue to run down that path of Arizona will throw the football and not stop anybody, and this should be a good over?
Yeah, listen, Jacksonville has been surprisingly good out west when they go there. And at least over the last 3 years, I think they're 3-0 straight up. and they put up about 31 or 32 points per game here. So it's a roller coaster with Jacksonville, though, isn't it? And the same thing with Arizona. Like, which way, what version of these teams are we going to get? And how is Jacoby Brissett even lifting his arm after the amount of passes he had last week?
47 completions. Dude had 47 completions last week. Let's see. What does Arizona have to lose? You're also talking about Jonathan Gannon up there answering questions. Hey, buddy, you know you're in a hot seat. It's like, well, I can't hire and fire myself. So we're just going to play this thing out. Let's see how this thing does play out with Jacksonville and Arizona. Good football card that's going to play out all across that landscape. By the way, Joe, we do take a look sometimes. We're not going to have to go over the games. But the NFL usually lines it up by saying, all right, we're going to give you something special in each hour per se. The 4 o'clock games. Jacksonville, Arizona, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Atlanta, and New Orleans, and then finally Philadelphia and Dallas. My God, spread out the wealth, man.
Thank goodness.
Who knows? Hopefully that Dallas game is going to be good against the Eagles, because the rest of them, Joe, oof.
Well, and it's so funny because now we've got New Orleans as a home favorite. So that's going to be interesting, as if for no other reason that are they worthy of being this kind of flip and a home favorite? We're going to find out rather quickly in that game with Kirk Cousins.
Thank goodness for betting, as they say. Like, oh, dang, betting's so bad. What would the NFL be doing on Sunday? You'd be watching the Indianapolis Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs, and then you'd be watching the Philadelphia Eagles and the Cowboys, and nothing till late night, 8:20 p.m. Come on, man. Legalized gambling's the way to do it, people. Keith Stewart's up next. Golf?
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The 35 cents, though, for yes on Ohio State.
Yeah.
I like that, Donnie. I think there's value in that right now because we only got, 3 weeks left to go. Then we'll have conference championships. Yeah, the more they keep winning, and they will win, the more that will increase, and that's a pretty good return on an investment there with Kalshi.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
No sleep for the weary people out here, and sometimes you might look at the golf schedule and say to yourself, well, the majors are done. The Ryder Cup, they don't play anymore. Of course they continue playing here, and we need those information, notes, and nuggets that we get each and every week. Down the right side, Joe Ranieri. Let's welcome in Keith Stewart, our resident PGA professional here. Keith, how you feeling? How we doing? Golf season's still here.
Donnie, Joe, I'm on site in Sea Island, Georgia. It's a heck of a lot better than being outside of New York City. The temperature is perfect, just a slight breeze. I love coming here to end the PGA Tour season.
There we go. Now, you say the end of the PGA Tour season. We have the RSM Classic that's going to take place this week. Before we get to that itself, what is the rest of the PGA schedule till we get to the end of the year?
Well, Donnie, everyone takes a break next week for Thanksgiving. Then we're going to have Tiger's event down in Bahamas in 2 weeks.
Right.
I'll be back for that. And then the week after that, we have the Grant Thornton Invitational. So we start these cash grabs, these fun December events. 2 weeks after that, we will have the PNC. I don't think we'll see Charlie and Tiger, but we will see a lot of those father-son and father-daughter duos that we love so much in the PNC. And then the week after that, we come back strong with the TGL, the Golf Simulator League down there in Joe's neighborhood. Before you know it, it'll be the Sony Open out there in Hawaii the second week in January, and you guys will be doing this all over again.
Love it.
Gotta love it. All right, so it is the final event, right, Keith? So it means this is the last opportunity for guys to actually secure that top 100 status, right? So a lot on the line for a lot of these guys. I don't think Harris English is one of them, although he appears to be the favorite. But is this one of those tournaments, if I recall, it's on 2 golf courses, not just one?
Joe, you are sharp as ever on this Wednesday morning. Yes, we have 2 golf courses. We've done 2 golf courses here at the RSM Classic since 2015. We have the Seaside Golf Course, which is the one that we will play once over the first 2 rounds and then all weekend. And then the Plantation Course, the guys will alternate between Plantation and Seaside for the first 36. We'll cut down to the top 65 in ties, and then you get Seaside all weekend. Seaside is that par 70 layout that goes out into the marshland. It's beautiful. But you raise a good point, Joe. Last year, and for many, many years, the cutoff for points in order to get your card for the next season has been 125. This is the first year we've cut it down to 100. There are a lot of guys sweating this thing out right now. And the guys that are here, other than the ones that live here, like a Harris English, are here because they need the points. So to get inside that top 100, if you haven't won or you don't have some sort of exemption for like career money, you are definitely thinking about not only making the cut this week, but making a dent in that leaderboard.
Course looks beautiful as we're rolling some of that B-roll footage there up on the screen. It looks great. Great time of the year here. Still have some of these events that really mean something to get your PGA Tour card, as we like to say. Keith, give us some keys this week and some golfers that you might be looking at here.
Donnie, I've got some great nuggets for you this week. I tell you what, I sat down yesterday with the tour's agronomist for this venue because there's always all sorts of weather going on here. But guess what? The wind is going to be light this year. The last couple of years, it's been rainy, it's been windy, it's been a tough week for these guys to compete. Not this year. We have perfect conditions. And the agronomist I talked to, the greens themselves, they're a little bit softer than they want them to be. And that means scoring. Vegas set the over-under at 21.5. I would smash the under. These guys are going to go about 25 under, maybe even more. They could go back to that Ludwig number from a couple of years ago at 29 under. But my specific keys for this week, number one, you got to watch the par 4s. You're going to play 3 rounds on a par 70 golf course. That means you're losing 2 par 5s. You're gaining 2 par 4s. Over the last 10 years, the guys that have won have gained over 10 strokes on the field on average on those par 4s. The second thing is that everyone calls this a wedge fest. I just mentioned it's going to be a birdie barrage, right? But on the PGA Tour, guys, everyone's great with a wedge. So how are you going to differentiate yourself from the field? What we have found over time is that the 6 par 5s that they'll play over the first 2 days, and then the 2 that they'll play each round over the weekend, and those long par 3s, that's where these guys differentiate themselves on approach. If you're modeling this thing out, make sure you include those approaches over 200 yards. And then just like last week, just like the week before down in Mexico, we are on coastal grainy grass. Again, it's Bermuda grass, like in Bermuda last week. You've got to be a great putter here. Over the years, 7 of the last 10 winners have gained more than 4 strokes on the field with their flat stick.
So, Keith, this has historically been, at least I think over the last 10 to 15 years, guys get their first PGA Tour win at this tournament here. Do we have one of those guys on the field here today that gets his first?
We absolutely have plenty of those guys. I mean, you have 18-year-old Blades Brown. You've got one of my early leans on the early line today, Pearson Cootie at 50 to 1, Joe, plus 5,000. He starts on the Plantation course, which is kind of a cool thing. 7 of the last 10 winners of this event, guys, have started their tournament on the Plantation and then went to Seaside on Friday. It's the easier of the 2 courses. He's going to go low early. You got to look at his fall. He's got a 14th, a 3rd, a 31st, and a 22nd. The guys that have won here over the last couple of years, whether it's been their first victory or not, they've played a bunch in the fall. They've kind of led up to this moment and then captured the crown. I mean, there's no better driver in the field than Pearson Coody. He's like number 1 or 2 on the tour strokes gained. I mean, he's up there with Rory, the way he drives it. He putts it great, and the approach game has been sharp as of late in the fall.
Love to see it here. PGA Tour action this weekend. But also, Keith, next week is Black Friday. Next week is also Thanksgiving Day. The Skins game is going to take place for the PGA Tour. Started in 1983, and now we're back here. I wonder if we're going to have odds up for that. And also, of the 4 participants, Keith, is there a guy that you'd be looking at like, you know what? That guy's going to be able to win some skins in this one.
Well, the Skins game is coming to you live on Friday morning, so they're not going to tangle with the NFL or the NHL that are playing those, afternoon games. So you got to love the way that the Pro Shop or Scratch has set this thing up for all of us to be entertained. They're playing Panther National down there in Joe's neighborhood, actually.
Wow.
A new golf course designed by Justin Thomas. Now, Justin was going to play, but we all know he had back surgery about 2 weeks ago, so he had to pull out of the event and he was replaced. I think the guy to watch for there is somebody who, in the fall, he kind of resurrected his 2025, and that's Xander Schauffele. He would be the guy in my early lean that I would think about watching for the Skins game. It's going to be fantastic. The only thing's going to be missing is Vin Scully and Lee Trevino, but you know what? If these guys can bring some rhetoric and have some fun, then you know what? The Skins game is going to be back.
Keith, I need a quick early line here, an early lean for the TGL for 2026. You got a club out there, Atlanta Drive, Boston Common Golf. Who's taking it down?
You know what? I loved Atlanta Drive, but no JT. Look towards New York or Boston. Big comeback by Boston.
Look at that. Keith's got you covered on everything. Thanks for joining us, Keith. We'll talk to you shortly again. We'll be right back after this short break.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
35 cents, though, for yes on Ohio State.
Yeah.
I like that, Donnie. I think there's value in that right now because we only got, 3 weeks left to go. Then we'll have conference championships. Yeah, the more they keep winning, and they will win, the more that will increase, and that's a pretty good return on an investment there with Kalshi.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Before you know it, we'll be talking about golf in the spring and saying, ooh, the Masters is right around the corner here and the Final Four and the way you head to the spring and you get excited about Major League Baseball, but not yet. We're not even through the month of November, and I just want to enjoy this time. There's so much sports. Like, yes, even golf is being played right now, along with, NCAA football, NCAA basketball. You got the NBA, you got the NFL. It's just so much good stuff here to sort of sink your teeth into. You don't want to forget about those good times. But when we talk about good times, Joe, it's usually me talking to Joe Ranieri, or Joe Ranieri talking back to me. This is the time we like to talk to the public out here and find out exactly where they're going in our Fade the Public poll. Are you down with the King, Joe Ranieri? Because the King was back last night for his 23rd NBA season. And if you follow at SportsGrid on X, you will get these questions delivered to you daily. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Because we need answers, people. And the question that we needed answered today was, will LeBron James win another NBA championship before he retires? Now, I do think this is a little bit slanted with the way we need to answer this. Yes was with an easily next to it, and no was with a never again. So it's hard enough to win an NBA championship, specifically if you're a team that's not favored to do so, which the Lakers aren't. So yes, easily comes in, Joe, 6.7% voted that way.
Interesting, Donnie. And listen, you got to think that as currently constructed, with Luka Doncic on the court, Reeves playing at a ridiculous level, they've got a couple of interesting other pieces on this team. Anything with Luka on it is going to give you an opportunity to run it. But I think the pace and the LeBron James, can he have enough left in the tank by the time the postseason comes around, Donnie? I think that's the key to all of this. If they're going to make a run at OKC and others, he can't be, he can't have played 65 games he can't be limping into the postseason here. They need LeBron in order to make a run. I don't know that they get it, but I think a healthy LeBron gives them a shot at doing it.
By the way, a question for you here. LeBron James wins an NBA title before Bitcoin gets over 100,000, Joe. Which way are you going on that one? Which way do you think?
Well, Bitcoin was already over 100,000. So that's, and LeBron's already won a title. So it's, we're tomato here, people. They both will happen, likely, because he may still play till he's 50 until he gets another one.
Yep, LeBron James comes back, Bitcoin down to 91 grand. Say it ain't so, people. That's the way we get down here on the early line. But now, we want winners. And yesterday, I got beat by a bucket. So I'm looking for a comeback story, and I'm going to head to the NBA. This is Bye. Let's get down to business, Joe. It's time for winners. I want winners. Where are you going tonight?
Well, it's fine. We'll make it a double NBA game, Donnie, because I'm going to stay local here, and I'm going to look at the Miami Heat, who are extremely well-rested. They've only played a handful of games over the last week. In the meantime, the Golden State Warriors just played last night in a losing effort to the Orlando Magic, and this is the final game of a 9-game road trip for the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry likely out for this game, and it wouldn't shock me if Jimmy Butler also doesn't play in this game, or Draymond Green, or Al Horford, or any combination of the old guys on this squad. It's been a very long trip, and guess what? We got one. Bam Adebayo has been upgraded to questionable here tonight for the Miami Heat, who got beat up pretty good over the last couple of seasons, especially when Jimmy showed up last year as a Golden State Warrior. I think Miami shows up and shows out in a shorthanded Warriors team. I'll lay the 6.5. The look ahead, by the way, was 3.5. Yeah. Now it's 6.5. That tells you everything you need to know.
It does, and sometimes you can just read a line. You can't do that. Like, that means that people are sitting out there. By the way, quick PSA for the NBA. Kids probably down in South Florida really like Steph Curry. It's a one chance they probably get to watch Steph Curry play. So what do? Land them on a back-to-back where nobody plays at this. The NBA can fix this overnight and improve their league, but they refuse to do that here. Toronto and Philadelphia is where I'm going in the NBA tonight, Joe, and I'm buying the price line here. 60% of the tickets coming in on the Toronto Raptors. Say, ooh, Donnie, usually like the public underdogs here. Not necessarily. This look-ahead line was a favorite towards the Philadelphia 76ers that has now swung to the Raptors. The most unbiased man here at the Sports Network is me. I love the Sixers. I'm taking the Raptors -1 tonight, Joe. An NBA sweep is on deck tonight for the boys and a nice bounce-back effort. How do we feel about that?
Yeah, no Paul George, no Embiid, I think, for the Sixers tonight. I like Toronto.
Come on, Toronto. Well, that'll do it for today's show. Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri. Tomorrow's a Thursday. The NFL is back, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.